In this session, I'm going to introduce to you our new site for our new project. And to open the site, you click on this particular assignment here. It says Hillside Architecture.skp. That's the SketchUp file. If you click on that, go on top to the middle, click on Open with SketchUp for School, and you're going to sign in with your OUSD account. A couple things I want to go over, which is how big it is, and also our first step is learning how to actually add material into a component. So once I'm logged in, I'm going to be able to show you the site, which it is here. So what you're going to see here is going to be a hillside architecture. So a couple elements you want to know. These section here are called topo maps. So each one of these line that you are indicating is actually going to be pretty tall. So if I take the line tool, alpha line, if I just draw a line up onto the blue, notice how each one of these steps are actually 5 feet tall. And if you measure the whole building, if I just take the line tool and click from this point to this point, it is 283 feet long, so it's extremely large. This is a really big site and a really big house for you to design. Also, something to note is going to be this is a highway, a 2-lane highway. And if I measure that from left to right or right to left, you can see it is 20 feet wide. So things like that you want to note. So what are we doing in this assignment? In this assignment, we want to learn a couple key elements. One is when you click on an object, notice how everything is selected. This one object is a component. Similarly to the ground, the building, the roof, and so on, each one of these elements is a component. And to make edit to any of these components, you have to enter the component. How do you enter the component? To enter the component, you take the selection tool or spacebar on your keyboard and double click on the component you want to make changes to. So in this assignment, we will be essentially adding material into your ground layer. So for example, here is going to be what you're going to be adding or replacing the image of. So this is the before, and you're going to be adding material to your site and then replace these images. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. To enter the component, you have to click the selection tool and double click on the component you want to make changes to. I'm going to double click and notice how I'm able to now enter that space. And one way to actually know if you're inside the space or not is if everything else that you're not working on is actually kind of grayed out. In this case, it's kind of greened out. So now you can actually access the surfaces that allow you to add something called material. On the right hand side, the 5th icon down is called material. These are material in your home page, which is material that is already in your model. If you want to add more than just this, you click on the search engine. And the search engine will bring up a whole long list of different kinds of material that for you to play with. For me, in this case, I want to go to landscape, fencing, and vegetation, and I can find grass, rocks, and so forth. So for example, I want to go ahead and paint this section in, the bottom here, grass, and then the rest of it is to be rocks. I can actually choose a grass material and just move over to the surface I want to paint the grass to be. I can now select that and notice how I'm able to paint in the grass. Some things I want to kind of just go over in a second are just how things are bleeding through and covering those elements in a second. However, I want to go ahead and zoom into this section here. And I want to paint this in some kind of, because the slope is actually pretty steep. So most likely vegetation is not going to grow on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put some kind of rocks or even DG, which is decomposed granite. I can actually now paint in the slope in a different material. So that's something to consider. So as you go through this sequence, you're going to be able to make the material color you want. You're going to do this to all of the different ground layers, so even the one on the bottom here. The road, for example, will be a different material. So I can actually go in here, I can go to asphalt and concrete, and I go ahead and just put it in some kind of like light concrete material or representation of asphalt. So once you have that done, here's the other thing I want to inform you of. So when I paint this grass, and you might be wondering, like, how come this thing is bleeding through when this is supposed to be a driveway up? The reason why is whenever you see this happen, that means the line is not fully connected. So whenever this happens in your model, which it can happen fairly often, you want to zoom into the corners, to the edges. So I'm gonna zoom into this corner and see if it's actually missing any line. That looks pretty good. What if I look at the other side? Let's go into the other side real quick and see what happened here. Oh, look at that. There is actually a missing gap. And when there's a missing gap, that means that the surface has not been divided into twos yet. So what I'm gonna do now is take the line tool and go ahead and just close that section up by drawing another line all the way to the edge like that. Notice now I have two different separate surfaces that I can play with. So this is one surface, this is another surface, which allows me now to actually change that driveway up to my house. Similarly, you see this section here, like, Miss Huang, what happened here? How come it bleeds through? Well, it bleeds through because this is just one continuous surface. So if you want this to be a different material, you actually have to take the line tool and draw one more line across like that. Let me go ahead and go all the way through. So my mistake, I actually did not make it all the way through. I'm gonna go all the way through, and now notice how I can separate the two materials. So if I want this to be like some kind of brick material, I can simply go now, click on brick, and put brick on the floor if that's something what you want. If you want tile or stone, you can actually add that in as well. What's really cool about these particular design and these material itself is actually real material. So if you zoom into it, you can see this is actually an image of real material. Similarly, grass, if you zoom into the grass, you will actually see this is actually real grass. So your goal now is to fill in all the colors for the ground and then capture two images. And this is how you're going to be submitting information into this class from this point forward. So if you go to your assignment in your Google Classroom, this is going to become called Google Slide. And in Google Slide, you're going to have something that look like this. And in the assignment, if you read the instruction, it's essentially telling you to download two images with using something called PNG. PNG is a PNG file. Using PNG to allow you to now go in to your model and actually export that using something called bird's eye view. Bird's eye view is just a view from above like this, as if you were a bird flying and you just looking down at the site. And what you want to do is maximize your view. What you don't want is to capture a view that look like this because you're missing a lot of the detail. You want to zoom in as far as you can, but not cut anything off like this. Notice the bottom right has something cut off. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in just like that. Something bird's eye view like that. I'm gonna capture two views, this view and one on the other side. So how do you capture this view? To capture this view, you're gonna go to the top left-hand corner to the three little line, click on the three little line, go to download and say PNG. And now this is going to be the image you are downloading as a PNG file. So you go to the bottom right-hand corner right here, click on export as PNG and click on export. That's one image. I'm gonna go ahead and orbit to the other side. So I'm gonna orbit to the other side like this and capture this image as well to submit it in. All right, so I have this image now. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the three little line, download PNG, and I'm gonna click export as PNG, and it will export to your download folder. So I just know where it's gonna go. It's gonna go to your download folder. I'm gonna show you where to find that now. Now that you have those two images, you're gonna replace these two images with the one you have completed, and then you're gonna press turn it in the Google Classroom. So how do you place these images? You will click on the image itself, and on the top middle corner, it says replace image. So click on replace image and say upload from computer. That's where your file is going to be, and click on download. For you, you're going to be able to easily find it because it's going to be right on top. For me, since I have so many files, I'm just going to grab this one and drag it up to my download folder. Here we go. Okay, now press open, and then now it's going to replace that image. If it get cut off like this, all you need to do is double click inside and just drag it over just a little bit to make sure you maximize the view so I can see everything. I'm gonna do that one more time. I'm click on this image here, click on replace image, upload from computer, and then go to my download folder. Here's the download folder. Find my image, which you will be able to find really easily here, but I'm gonna just drag mine up from this direction. I'm gonna click on open, and it's gonna replace that image with the original one. Once you're done, go to Google Classroom And on the top right hand corner, you will see a button called Turn In. Make sure you press the button Turn In to get graded.